without it. So as you can see, it's a very subtle effect. You know, turning it up some more with the ratio. The more the ratio it is, the more compressed that when it hits that peak, when it hits that threshold, the more it's going to compress it. So now we're going at 12 to 1. So it compresses it very nicely without affecting like the tone completely. Like they're very similar tones, but one is like a more polished sound to it with the limiter on, you know, versus with it off. So, you know, a lot of times I'll take like that, like I said, that 160 compressor, run that in the beginning, run a preamp, so basically I'm running the compressor into the preamp, the Magellan preamp, and then I can either use my Spectra comp as a limiter type thing, you know, or I can use it as an additional way to compress the sound with the individual bands a little bit more. And you know, depending on the sound, you know, so when I'm tapping, I might prefer the TC Electronic Spectracom, but when I'm playing overall, I might just want that limiter at the end. So that's why I have, so pretty much the pedal board on the floor. Let me see, give you guys a quick peek at that. So this pedal board here on the floor, it has the Zoom B3 on there, and you got all these other pedals on there as well. So, all the electro harmonics pedals basically. But yeah, great sound to it. So I still use it. I like that, even though it's an older pedal. That pedal like almost 10 years old now. So, you know, but I got that 160 compressor running on there. Alright, so that's running into the Magellan preamp. So what you're hearing right now is just the compressor into the preamp. Without without the compressor rather, the preamp just by itself. With the compressor, the 160 compressor. without it. So it just makes it, even going into the compressor, I mean into the preamp, it makes it a much better, more even tone. Brings out, make sure none of that, the nuances of your playing are getting lost in that mix there. So then from there, like I said, I like to run that limiter. So you got the 1176 limiter right there. Those are the settings. Bring that back to 4 to 1. And the reason why I'm only compressing it, limiting by 4 to 1 instead of like something higher, is because by the time I don't want the front of the house or the studio engineer not to be able to incorporate whatever compression they want. So I don't want to over compress the sound. Then they don't have any control over anything. I still leaving, granted I have a lot going on before it gets to them. Um, I don't want to do so much that it doesn't allow them to do what they need to do professionally, because I can't hear what they're hearing out there. I can hear what I'm hearing on stage. So their job is kind of to translate my sound from here to out there, and I can't hear what that is, and that might feel different or have different needs than what I need on stage. So I just use the minimum amount of compression before. So I'm using the 2 to 1 to go in, and then coming out, I know I'm gonna have some frequencies boosted, and because I have the Magellan preamp or whatever preamp, I'm gonna have something boosted on there. Um, and it just I'm just hitting those peaks. I'm just kissing those peaks to bring it down just a little bit and bring out some of my nuances in my playing, so I don't have to play as hard. Sometimes when if you're running a nice scoop sound, it gets, some of that gets lost in there. So when I'm playing live, I definitely prefer to have some sort of compression going on. Just the same way I prefer some form of EQ or preamp. Things like that, things that color my sound a certain way and give me the things I need in my tones. So let's look at yeah. So here's the limiter with the 160 compressor going into the Magellan preamp, and that's running into the 1176 style limiter. Here we go. But as you can see, even with both of those, the 160 compressor and the limiter on at the same time, I still got a ton of dynamics left in there. I didn't squash it out. Sometimes I guess, that can be useful, squashing it. I never found a use for that. Personally, I don't like a squash bass sound. So I like it to sound natural but clear. So I want to get to basically the sound as clear as possible. So I know the sound I'm trying to translate, and basically I'm just trying to get that to go as far as possible. So